Back in March 2025, Donald Trump made headlines with a bold promise: bring American car manufacturing back home. His tool of choice, a steep 25% tariff on imported vehicles, aimed squarely at foreign automakers, especially the Japanese giants. 4 months later, the results are already in, and they're not exactly what the Trump team had in mind. Let's start with the big picture. The goal was to pressure foreign companies to move production to the US, boosting jobs and reviving Rust Belt economies. But instead of sparking a manufacturing renaissance, the tariffs are triggering a corporate scramble, and not the good kind. Take Nissan. The company announced it's bracing for a massive $5.3 billion loss. Why? Because of steep costs tied directly to US tariffs on one of its top models, the Rogue SUV. Nissan is slashing production, trimming exports, and looking for ways to stay afloat. That's not exactly winning. Meanwhile, Honda is making a defensive move. To sidestep the tariffs, they're shifting production of the hybrid Civic from Japan to Indiana. It's a smart business decision, but let's be clear. This isn't about expanding jobs, it's about surviving the tariff storm. Toyota is doing something similar, considering plans to manufacture the next-generation RAV4 in Kentucky. Again, this isn't about a sudden patriotic pivot. It's about numbers on a spreadsheet. When tariffs make imports more expensive, it makes more sense to assemble cars in the US, not because it's easier, but because it's cheaper in the long run. But here's where it really gets messy: Canada. Trump's tariff move didn't happen in a vacuum. It triggered a retaliatory response from Canada, which slapped a 25% tax on American-made vehicles being exported north. And that's caused a big headache, especially for Subaru. Until recently, Subaru was building thousands of vehicles in Indiana and shipping them to Canadian dealerships. Not anymore. To avoid the new Canadian tariffs, Subaru is cutting back exports from the US and replacing them with Japan-made vehicles. That's right. Building in America has now become more expensive than shipping across the Pacific. According to insiders, Subaru's exports to Canada will fall from 26% of total volume to just 10%. That's a big shift, and a big warning sign. If building cars in America makes them too expensive to sell abroad, what's the incentive to stay? This isn't just a Japanese problem either. US suppliers, especially smaller ones, are starting to feel the squeeze. Companies that make everything from engine parts to seat frames are reporting lower orders and rising uncertainty. Some are cutting shifts, others are raising prices. Everyone's watching the calendar. Trade talks between the US and Japan are ongoing, with Commerce Secretary Lutnick and Japan's top negotiator, Akazawa, holding phone calls and trying to find a path forward. But Japan's position is firm. No deal before their upper house elections in late July. After that, maybe. In the meantime, American consumers are also feeling the effects. Prices for imported vehicles have climbed, and even US-built models are more expensive due to supply chain disruptions and shifting production costs. According to industry reports, Japanese carmakers are cutting their profit margins just to stay competitive in the US, with factory gate prices down nearly 20% for some models. But even with those price cuts, US dealerships are seeing slower sales. Customers are holding off. Some are turning to used cars. Others are switching brands. It's a ripple effect that stretches far beyond the factories. And then there's the political fallout. In Japan, voters in industrial regions like Hiroshima, home to Mazda, are growing increasingly frustrated. With billions in exports at stake, local politicians are pressuring Tokyo to resolve the dispute. One city council member even called the tariffs economic sabotage dressed up as patriotism. In the US, reactions are mixed. Some Trump supporters praise the move, saying it's time foreign companies play fair. But economists aren't so sure. Many warn that the tariffs are distorting the market, harming US allies, and ultimately hurting American workers more than they help. So where do things stand? In just 4 months, we've seen production cuts, export rerouting, billion-dollar losses, and rising prices. Yes, a few companies are shifting assembly lines to the US, but mostly out of necessity, not confidence. Trump's tariff gamble was supposed to rebuild the American car industry. But if the early results are any clue, we may end up with fewer exports, more expensive vehicles, and a trade headache that just keeps growing. The next key date, August 1st Street, that's when the US may double down, or walk back some of these measures. Until then, automakers, suppliers, and consumers are all buckled in for a very bumpy ride. Because right now, the road to American manufacturing greatness looks anything but smooth. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll keep you updated.